Welcome to MRL. In this learning session, we'll be learning about square roots. Now, what is square root? Square root is the reverse operation of finding the square of a number. For example, the square of 2 is 2 square and that is 4. Square of 3 is 3 square, that is 9. Square of 4 is 4 square, that is 16. So the reverse operation of this is the square root of 4 is 2, square root of 9 is 3, square root of 16 is 4. And symbolically, we can write it as square root of 4 is 2, square root of 9 is 3, square root of 16 is equal to 4. Suppose n is a natural number and its square is m square, then square root of n is m, that is square root of n is equal to square root of m square, and that is equal to m. So remember, the symbol of square root is this is the symbol of square root. Now every number has two square roots. Now what does this mean to us? If I find the square of minus 2, I get 4. If I find the square of plus 2, also I get 4. The square root of 4 will give me minus 2. Square root of 4 also will give me plus 2. Therefore, square root of 4 has two values, minus 2 and plus 2. Therefore, any number, the square root of any number will have two square roots, one with plus sign, the other one with minus sign. For example, square root of 9 is plus minus 3. Square root of 16 is plus minus 4, and so on. Now there are different methods of finding square root of numbers. We have got factors method, the long division method, and units and tens digit method. Now let us learn the methods one by one. The first method is the factors method, and in this method, as the title very clearly tells us, it is a factors method. So we have to find the prime factors of the given number. So let us say, let us consider an example here. Square root of 6724. Find the factors of 6724, that is the prime factors. 2, 2, 41, 41 are the prime factors of 6724. So square root of 6724 is equal to square root of 2 into 2 into 41 into 41. Pair them, and from each pair take one factor, multiply to get the product, that is 82, and 82 is the square root of 6724. And the method is find the prime factors of the given number, pair the factors, and take one factor from each pair and find their product to get the square root of the given number. And that is the factors method of finding the square root. The next method is the long division method. Now this is a very important method which we generally adopt when we want to find the square root of any number. Now let me explain this with the help of an example. Let us take an example here. Find square root of 529. Now square root of 529, to find that, first put one vertical line and horizontal line, write the number 529 and pair the numbers starting from right to left. So on the right side we have a pair 29, and also we have a pair, the next pair is 5. Although 5 is a single digit, still it is taken as a pair, and after pairing, choose a number the square of which should be less than 5. 2 square is 4, which is less than 5, and we subtract 4 from 5, we get 1. Bring 29, always bring a pair down, so bring the pair down 29 and add 2 to this, it becomes 4. Choose a digit, I have chosen 3 here, so 43 into 3 becomes 129, which is when subtracted we get 0, 0, 0. So that is the procedure of finding out the square root of 529, and we find that the square root of 529 is 23, and 529 is a perfect square, and the square root of 529 is 23, and this is the method of the long division method of finding out the square root of any given number. Now to find the least number that must be subtracted to make a number a perfect square. Now let us understand what is the meaning of this. Let us say we are given a number 2361, and let us see whether it's a perfect square or not. Now pair the numbers, therefore 61 is a pair, 23 is a pair. Choose the first pair, choose a number 4. 4 into 4 is 16. I have chosen 4 because 4 into 4 is 16. I cannot take 5 because 5 into 5 becomes 25. So 23 minus 16 becomes 07. Now add this 4 here. 4 plus 4 is 8. I have chosen digit 8 here. It becomes 88. 88 into 8 becomes 704, which is less than 761. Subtract it, we get 57. We have 57 as a remainder here. That means if the remainder would have been 0, if the remainder is 0, then 2361 would have been a perfect square. But here the remainder is 57. Therefore 2361 is not a perfect square. Rather 57 is extra value, or the more value which is has to be subtracted from 2361 to make it a perfect square. So the number to be subtracted from 2361 is 57, and when we subtract 57 from 2361, we get 2304. So 2304 is the perfect square. Therefore the conclusion is that 2361 is not a perfect square because the remainder is not 0, and to make 2361 a perfect square we have to subtract 57 from 2361, and the number what we get is 2304, which is the perfect square. And we find here by long division method that the square root of 2304 is 48 and the remainder is 0. Therefore 2304 is the required perfect square out of from 2361 when 57 is subtracted. Remember that. Now the next important discussion is to find the least number that must be added to a given number to make it a perfect square. Now to understand this, let us consider an example. Let us take the example 7390. Now let us find the square root of this and check whether it's a perfect square. Now pair them. 90 is one pair, 73 is another pair. I have chosen 8 here. 8 8 is 64. I cannot take 9 because 9 into 9 becomes 81. So 8 8 64 is correct. Subtract 64 from 73, we get 09. Add 8, we get 16. I have chosen digit 5 here. 165 into 5 gives me 825. So when I subtract, because 825 is less than 990, if I take 6 here to be greater than this, therefore instead of that I have taken 160, that is 5. 165 into 5 is 825. Subtract it, we get the remainder 165. Getting a remainder means that 7390 is not a perfect square. But the problem here is we cannot subtract this, so or we cannot add this because we have asked to find out what has to be added. Therefore we cannot add 165 to this to make it a perfect square. So we have to find out the number which has to be added, and for that 7390, if you take, it is a number which lies between two perfect squares, two consecutive perfect squares, that is 85 square and 86 square. So choose 86 square. 86 square minus 7390 becomes 6, and therefore 6 is the number which has to be added to 7390 to make it a perfect square. This is one method of finding out the number to be added to 7390. Another very easy method is find the square root of 7390 by the same procedure. We find that 8 is a 64, 9 09 is the remainder, add 8, 16 we get, and 90 you bring it down. Now instead of 5, choose 6. That means 166 into 6 becomes 996 here, 996, which is greater than 990. Then when we subtract it, we get minus 6. Now here the remainder is minus with a minus sign, and this 6 has to be added to 7390 to make it a perfect square. So we have got two different methods. Both the methods are easy, so we can adopt one of those methods to find the least value which has to be added to a given number to make it a perfect square. Now square root of rational numbers. Square root of 9 by 16. Square root of 9 by 16, we have to apply the property of radicals, that is square root of a upon b is equal to square root of a upon square root of b. When we apply this property of radicals, then we find that square root of 9 by 16 is square root of 9 by square root of 16. Square root of 9 is 3 and square root of 16 is 4. Therefore 3 by 4 is the square root of 6, square root of 9 by 16. Now if we want to find out the square root of 9 into 100, there are two different methods again. Now apply the property of radicals here. Root of a into b is equal to root a into root b. Therefore square root of 9 into 100 becomes square root of 9 into square root of 100, and square root of 9 is as you know it is 3, and square root of 100 is 10 into 3 is 30. Therefore the square root of 9 into 100 is 30. Instead of that, we can even go for long division method. Multiply 9 into 100 becomes 900. So square root of 900 by long division method we get 30. So we can adopt any one of these methods to find the square root of 9 into 100. Now square root of decimals. Now we have a decimal number here 0.25. We want to find the square root of this. Now to do that, convert 0.25 into fraction. It becomes 25 by 100. Then square root of 25 by 100 becomes square root of 25 by square root of 100. We can apply the property of radicals here. Then square root of 25 is 5, square root of 100 is 10, and 5 by 10 is 0.5. Therefore square root of 0.25 is 0.5. Remember that. Now the next example is square root of 0.000081, and that can be converted into a fraction, that is a rational number, that is 81 by 1 followed by 6 zeros, and square root of that. Now for that we can find out square root of 81 and square root of 1 followed by 6 zeros. Square root of 81, as you know, it is 9. Square root of 1 followed by 6 zeros becomes 1000. 9 by 1000 is 0.009. Therefore the square root of the given decimal number 0.4081 is 0.009. Remember that. Now one more example of finding out the square root by long division method. This is the decimal number here. We have 81.5409, again a decimal number. We can go by long division method, and for that first of all pair them, and the pairing is slightly different here. We have to pair the whole part from right to left and the decimal part from left to right. So we have got 3 pairs here. The digits in the square root will be 3 digits, that is 903. Then we have 3 digits here, and the procedure is the same. So first of all, choose the first pair, then select a digit, that is 9 nines are 81, as you have seen here. 9 nines are 81, so 81 minus 81 is 00. Then add 9, it becomes 18. Now bring 54 down. I cannot take any other digit other than 0, so 180 into 0 becomes 00. Then 54 minus 00 becomes 54. 09 you can bring it down, that means the number is 5409. Add 0 here, it becomes 180. Now I have chosen a digit 3, so that when I multiply 1803 by 3, I get a number less than 5409 or equal to 5409. Here I have got the number 5409. Subtract it, we get the remainder as 0. Therefore, square root of 81.5409 is 9.03, and that is the procedure of finding out the square root of decimal numbers by long division method.